This is the best thing though, because I get you together. It's like the dream team together. It's like, yeah, individually, but now together. I love that. I mean, this partnership and this collaboration that you both have, it just creates really special things. I saw the film yesterday. I said to you, I just didn't want to leave the cinema. It's so special, and it's so rewarding when you come out of the cinema and you've seen something that is so unique and so different to anything that you've ever seen. So huge congratulations.
Oh, thank you.
I believe the story, though, and the seed of the story is really personal to you, and a family member who was a big blues fan. Is that right? Mm-hmm. Yeah?
Yeah, my Uncle James, that was all he listened to. And I associated that music with him.
Yeah.
And I really loved him. Spent a lot of time with him. But I didn't think of that music as belonging to me.
Yeah.
It felt distant from me. It felt like it was his, and then the blues, it had like a connotation that felt like. It actually was. I was aware of the dichotomy even then, because I would think of the blues as being sad, but the music he listened to didn't feel sad, you know. But then there was this movie, The Blues Brothers, and it was and I never saw it. I actually still haven't seen it. I actually need to watch it because I've seen scenes from it.
Yeah.
Recently, and I'm like, I gotta watch this. Like a scene with Aretha Franklin in the kitchen or something.
RSPT, totally.
Yeah. But and John Lee Hooker is a scene with him, But as a kid, I would see the Blues Brothers, like Dan Aykroyd and Belushi, it's white dudes, and they got this, the hats and
yeah.
So it's I'm like, all right, the blues is for all black people and white people. You know what I'm saying? When I was coming up,
yeah.
It didn't feel like hip hop music felt to me like I owned it. You know what I mean, or R&B at the time. But then my uncle died, and right around that time, I started to listen to blues music a little more, just to kind of think about him and help navigate. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That unlocked something where I started to get more obsessed with it, more interested.
Yeah. It's so funny. The Blues Brothers is the film that when I was about 12 or 13, I had a tiny little TV in my room. My dad had an old VHS player.
Yeah.
I would go to bed watching that film every night.
Oh, that's awesome.
And my parents would come in and switch my TV at different times. Going to be asleep. I'd fall asleep at different points. Every night
that's
I would
awesome.
put that film on.
I had movies like that. What was crazy is somebody was telling me, I think our VFX supervisor was he was dumbfounded that I hadn't seen it, because he was like, "Yo, the movie, they getting a band together and they driving around." You know what I'm saying? He was like, "This movie is kind of like." I'm like, "Bro, I ain't seen it."
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like a staple.
Yeah.
When did you? I mean, writing this film, in terms of this, an original idea, a unique idea, and kind of bringing. It's lovely to think about that idea of bringing, your uncle into this story, but then also your dad being a fan of horror films, and kind of, because I've heard people talk about it being a horror film. I don't think it does the film justice, because this film crosses so many genres.
Yeah.
It celebrates so many genres of film. It's like a kind of tasting menu of genres almost, in a way. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. It's incredible.
Yeah.
When did you start talking about music? Because it's not just a case of coming in to do score and create beautiful music for this film. It's got a much deeper meaning and part of the story. When did you start talking about that, and what was those kind of conversations?
Ryan, I think, started writing the script, or even before you started writing the script, you were listening to a lot of blues.
Yeah.
And he kept sending me a lot of music over text. Like every now and then, it was like a blues song from the 30s, the 40s, Tommy Johnson, Robert Johnson, and also a lot of songs that I haven't listened to. Like I never really listened to a lot of the 30s recordings.
Yeah.
And one of the things that Ryan told me in the beginning was like, it's so. He always said, like, it's so interesting how today we think that music back in the day sounded like this. Those old recordings that are, it's a little pitchy. It's really
Yeah.
hissy. The sound is terrible, and like it's we think that that's how it sounded like, but it's that's so far away from the truth. And how interesting would it be to get a little insight in the world of how it could have been?
Yeah.
And that's kind of where that idea kind of just started. Like, oh my God, is he? I guess he's writing a movie about this.
Yeah. Well, it's even the way that when I think the first thing when the film starts is like almost like the tuning up, and it's it's like, okay, here we go.
That's all him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's such a clever way of kind of bringing that as part of the narrative immediately.
Yeah. But also like like I also wanted the movie to be like a what I discovered, right? Like and I say this like just like coming up as like a black person in the country where I'm from.
Yeah.
You have to you gotta metabolize like the idea of double consciousness. You know what I mean? You have to understand that, all right, I am an American, but I'm also something else.
Yeah.
At the same time. You know what I mean? And that's kind of like you gotta see the world through like these super complex layers.
Yeah.
And all of them are these social constructs. You know what I'm saying? That you constantly filtering it through. And what I realize is like that. You know, in studying this music, that genre itself is like kind of a product of like racist thinking.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And but at the same time, I will tell you that I like genre movies. I have to have like an acknowledgement of, the concept of genre is kind of bullshit, but it also has its place.
Yeah.
But for me with this movie, and I talked to Ludwig about this, it kind of had to be about the principle that there was a certain time with music where I could sing a song and you could sing that same song. You know what I'm saying? Same lyrics, same cadence, same music. Mm. And because of the time and how much racism kind of dominated all thinking, it was inconceivable that these recordings could be considered the same genre.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And how much all of our culture kind of branched off from that, and how we still at war with that to this day. Like we're, and I do think that cinema, the industry of it because it was such a new industry, it does kind of look at music. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Music's kind of like the big brother to cinema. So these genre classifications, they still echoes with a little bit of a tinge of racism. You know what I mean? And all of the isms that you want to get away from. It's still there. You know what I'm saying? And so like the film kind of had to rage against that and interrogate that.
Yeah.
For it to exist. You know what I mean? Like it had to make you ask the question, wait, is this a horror movie? Like like the whole time.
Yeah.
And also, that's how we met. Like the fact that Delta blues musicians, music connected in Europe, European musicians wanted to make that music, made it, but the world couldn't comprehend that they were making this music.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
it's a new thing. The British invasion, you know what I'm saying?
Absolutely, there would be no Rolling Stones without Delta blues music as an example.
But the other thing is that they would say this. They would say, "Hey, I'm making blues music. I'm making I'll make, you know, it'd be like the
But they got labeled.
Yeah, the
something.
journalist said, "No, you're not." You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
you know, like in you know, like Elvis would say, "Yeah,
I'm making
blues music." Like,
Yeah.
you know, no, you're not. This is something. You something else. You know, and because of that, God bless these European musicians because they took those blues musicians and took them to Europe where they could tour them, where his dad saw some of them and became a blues guitarist. You know what I mean? Like you know, it put him on the track for us to meet.
Yeah.
You know,
Wow.
which is like the movie's also about that.
Yeah.
Like people talk about like how long I've been working with Mike. I've been working with him longer. You know what I'm saying? And so a big part of this movie was like, you know, I wanted to make something where he could really flex in a way people don't even realize. You know.
Well, imagine so much of the music had to be written before filming started.
Yeah.
You know what I mean, in terms of that kind of the idea of what we see in the film and what's, because you were on set playing, you know, you were there, you were a cast member really, you know what I mean, in terms of being on set and playing a lot of that music and being there to kind of oversee a lot of stuff. How is that kind of, you know, writing before anything's shot, you know, in terms of that idea of kind of you're feeding the creativity really of what's about to happen in a way?
No, it's interesting to hear like Ryan saying like a movie that I can flex, because I felt kind of the complete opposite in a way where it's like, I grew up also with the blues. My dad is a blues guitar player.
Yeah.
Like he bought a John Lee Hooker album when he was 15, and from that he was sold. You know, he heard John A. Be Good when he was 12 in the radio in Linköping, in a small town in Sweden, and that's when he wanted to start playing guitar.
Yeah.
And so obviously Ryan making a movie about a guitar player, but also making a movie about the blues. Like the first thing I'm thinking is like, it's not like, oh, I'm gonna flex on this. It's like it's more
it's
like
my dad.
Yeah, it's kind of the opposite in a way. It's like, well, you know, how do I find my place in this?
Yeah.
Like what is my, and that took me a long time to find like what is my point of the blues or my side of the blues, and because it was a little overwhelming in the beginning to just kind of understand what my role in this is, right? And I think that's why when I get started on this, that it was really important to find the right people that we're gonna work with on the songs and on the music, and finding the right artists that would be able, and songwriters that would be able to kind of channel this music and write modern and contemporary and type blues songs that still feel of the time and of the era, but still very much of today. Yeah. And we have some of those musicians still around, and you know, we worked with Raphael Sadiq, Brittany Howard. We wrote some incredible songs with. And also one of the first things that we did was to go on a blues trail trip to Memphis and Mississippi and drive around the Delta. We went to Clarksdale, and my dad also came from Sweden.
Oh wow!
Joined on this trip.
Yeah.
With a big old playlist of music to listen to whilst you were doing it.
Yeah. He was the DJ.
But that was my it was very moving for me.
I bet.
Like to be down there, but also like everybody, because we met with Lawrence Boo Mitchell, who works out of his grandfather's studio, and his grandfather was like
Royal Studios.
Yeah. His grandfather was like a legend.
Yeah.
In this type of music. So like he's there with his dad. I'm there to visit the state where my uncle and my grandfather was from. That I'd never been. And then we with this guy who is like living as an echo of his grandfather.
Yeah. You
know, and managing the studio that his grandfather started, and you know, still doing the same work, but in a new way. And we're going to like some really like incredible places, like in talking about the movie to people, like, and like the look on people's faces, man, when we tell them what we doing.
I hope you filmed lots of this as well for.
Yeah, I mean, but it was crazy. It was like especially like people from the South, like they never dismissed it. Like,
yeah.
Like you'll say vampires, and you just kind of see their eyebrows raised, but then they be like, yeah, that makes sense, you know? Like,
yeah.
You know, like, cause it was so much fun, but also that was where I realized the movie was an epic.
Yeah.
Like until then, I thought I was making like a small grindhouse thing.
Really?
You know? Yeah. And then I realized like, cause I didn't know this about his dad. Like I'm standing on like we went to Dockery Plantation, which is a part of the blues trail, but it's arguably where like the first true Delta blues song was played by Charlie Patton.
Charlie Patton, yeah.
You know, and
who features in the film?
Yeah,
and
and it's very he's like the guy, he's like the father of the Delta blues, and it's very like it's a haunting place. It's a haunted place. Like it's you know, it's essentially like being at a concentration camp. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
And you know, I was there, and I got choked up being there. And I looked at his dad, and his dad was choked up. You know what I mean? Like, and he's from thousands of miles away, and it was like his dream to come to this. You should talk about that. But it was his dad's dream to take this trip. I felt like I was intruding on like something between him and his dad. You know what I mean? Like with my work. But at the same time, I was just, you know, trying to feel all of it.
Yeah.
You know, and it was standing there when I realized, like, you know, what these people made changed the world.
Yeah.
You know, and they probably had no idea. They was just trying to affirm their humanity. You know what I mean? But they didn't know that, like, what they would do, you know, would essentially like dictate a century of pop culture.
Across the
world. You know
world.
what I mean? Yeah, globally.
Totally, yeah.
Yeah, like and I saw something about that, you know, standing there with this 70-year-old Swedish man, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Who we have like nothing in common with besides his son. You know what I mean? Like on the
family,
surface.
it's like that line in the film. We're family.
Yeah, but we are family.
Yeah.
Me and Ludwig's family are family. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, but it was really like moving to know that music is what brought, specifically like music made by these people is what brought us together.
Yeah.
You know, like in it was like, oh, this movie is not a grindhouse. Like that would be doing a major disservice. Like this is maybe the most important artistic contribution that our country has made. You know what I'm saying? Like, and that's like way, you know, like that's way bigger than maybe anything that we've made.
Yeah.
You know, like so many of our contributions have been, you know,
They've been pretty impressive.
yes, but I mean, like as a culture, like American contributions to you know, they ain't all been pretty. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know, we know for a lot of things. you know what I mean? Like and so I realized I was like, oh shit, man, like this is major. You know what I mean? Like it hit me. So that was when the movie got big.
Yeah.
You know, like you know, at that moment, you know.
The one thing I wanted to ask about was Miles, because that moment in the car with Michael where he sings, where we hear his voice for the first time, that's such an important thing to the casting of that character, I think, in that what that voice sounds like, in that it's got to have a kind of almost another worldly presence in a way, you know, and you are kind of like
knocked back by
it
totally.
as soon as you hear it. How is that natural to him? Did you
Miles' voice?
Yeah,
that's all him.
Amazing.
Yeah. I mean, that's
I
the same
mean,
voice he's talking with.
incredible in the film.
Yeah.
But you're not expecting that voice to come out when you hear him talk.
Yeah.
Even when you see him with a guitar, you're like, oh, he's comfortable with a guitar, but which I know he learned for the role. But that voice is like something else.
And then and reading the script and starting the auditions. I mean, we had to. It was really hard. It was really difficult to. I mean, there's people of great voices.
Yeah.
But how to find something with that character, that just hits you right off the bat. And as soon as we heard it, I think even before he started to sing, just as soon as we saw his tape and he started to talk, it was like, okay, this.
His mom's cutting.
Yeah.
I'm singing Sam Cooke. That's how audition tape sounded. Yeah. I'm singing Sam Cooke. You know,
He sang Sam Cooke.
Yeah, he did. He really sang it too. He could sing.
Yeah.
Like, he really could sing.
And after 1 second of hearing,
Yeah, it was like, wait, this kid's interesting.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, like you never forgot him.
It was kind of over.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's phenomenal in the film. The amazing casting for him. I want to talk about that just bewildering scene in the juke joint where we have this multi-generational, multicultural players and performers. It's such, and I can't wait to see it again, even just for that scene sort of thing. It's I've never seen anything like it on screen before. Tell me about writing that and what you want that piece to feel like, and then also creating the music and the sounds and the feel and the rhythm and everything about it, really. There's a lot of questions in there, sorry.
No, not at all. Like, I mean, like I didn't notice. I did not notice I outlined the script in I had the full structure, characters, and knew how I was gonna start, knew how I was gonna end, and all that good stuff that you normally do, and things change, and but when I was writing it, I was going away. I generally have to try to kind of get away from home a little bit, so I go up the coast of Northern California, and I find it to be like very like creatively fertile ground, like that area of Highway 1 in Northern California coast. And I was out there just playing blues music and trying to like connect and while I was writing. And I got to that part where and it kind of came out like because what I was obsessing over, and this is, like I said, this was before the movie was big.
Yeah.
Before IMAX and all of that. What I was obsessing over was, because I was talking to my grandmother a lot and my father-in-law. They both in their 90s, and I would ask her these stories, and I was realizing like that everything that I am, they had already been. I was asking my grandmother about my grandfather, who was from Mississippi. She's from Texas. Like, he was from Mississippi. And I was asking her, man, what did you like about him? You know what I mean? Like, what was it about him? And my mom often tells me that I'm a lot like this man who I never met,
Yeah.
And she was talking about his confidence and how he was, she said he was young, but he felt like a man, I asked her, hey, what was your first date? And she said, we went to the movies. And that was my first date with my wife. You know what I'm saying? I was like, what was it like? And she said, yeah, he kept trying to make out with me. But I told him eventually, look, we can do that after. I want to watch the movie. You know what I'm saying? And like something about that was like so sexy. You know what I mean? And I never thought about, like, my grandmother's 96 years old. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
She was like 60 when I met her. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like that, and I was like not to be weird, but like that's what was happening on my first date with my wife. You know what I mean? And it like something about the process hit me that we are these echoes.
Yeah.
Of people past, and the echo is gonna keep ringing out with our kids. The only thing different is like the situation, the circumstances. You know what I'm saying? Like my great grandfather maybe would have been a director if that was a thing, but it wasn't. And society was shit, so he was a sharecropper. You know what I'm saying? And like that, so like that, in how cool would it be if there was a magic that would allow us to party together?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So that's so and right now that was where it came from. Yeah.
I can't begin to imagine how you kind of, because it's the way that it kind of sort of breathes into different eras of music, you know, just really subtly, like almost a kind of, you know, you open a window and a breath of fresh air comes in. It's almost like that musically at moments. It's incredible.
Yeah, I mean, just reading the script just kind of immediately gave me goosebumps, because it's even a concept or idea that I've never would have imagined myself, or like I never heard of, I never seen before, I never read before, and I was like, it was a mind-blowing experience just reading it. So just recreating what was on the paper, it was very you know, there's so many ways to go about, and obviously the first thing we need is a song. So that's when Raphael Sadiq came to my studio and recorded, and we wrote and recorded I Lied to You. Yeah. And he that's a song that kind of he had on his mind his whole career. He had the concept of it, and he had the concept of doing a song like that throughout his whole career, and it just never been in the right situation to make it. So it was, and he's also from the Bay Area. Just
hold that, yeah. So Raphael Sadiq, his older brother who founded Tony went to school with my daddy. So I knew his older brother who just passed away, rest in peace, a few weeks ago. He actually passed away the week we showed Raphael Sadiq the movie. But his older brother is a man named Dwayne Wiggins, and my dad grew up with Dwayne Wiggins, and when Tony was dominating airwaves in my childhood, he would tell me stories about how he would be at the park with Dwayne, playing him in the middle of a basketball game, and Dwayne would say, "Guys, I gotta go rehearse with my band," and my dad would say, "Man, forget that band. That's silly," you know. And his band had his little brother in it who was Raphael Sadiq. Wow. Yeah. So
and I've been listening to his music when I was in Sweden. Like when I was in high school in Sweden, I was listening to Raphael Sadiq's music. And remember the first show I saw with him, 2001 maybe, when he came out playing bass, you know, and I was always one trying to work with him. But so that was coming almost like it was meant to happen. Yeah. So that song came out of that session. So we had the song, and now we just need to figure a way how to make it into that whole set piece. So obviously, me moving out to set, and with my whole family, with Serena, with the kids, and so being part of the crew, we had to team up with every different department. You know, visual effects, costume, clothes. Choreography, like we all had to work together to create this massive set piece. Cinematography, because it was tons of rehearsals. I had to get a visual. It was a 2-month process, and then Ryan was, you know, you were giving me some great directions on what kind of styles of music you wanted to hear and when we were going to hear it. Yeah. But then the way it came together was on set during rehearsal. It was almost like a live performance where I had my rig, my team was there. We were like, we had like all the files up, and we had the extras, and we rehearsed how the camera was going to move, and how it could move, and how long it was going to take, and I was kind of DJing on the spot.
Yeah, whoa. It was total effort, like because that camera's big. Yeah, and Rennie is a Haitian American ex-football player. You know, like and so he was our Steadicam op, black man, young dude, and so me and him vibe pretty good just on movement, and you know I'm like from a lot of that shot I'm like holding holding his Steadicam vest,
Yeah.
it kind of
Guiding
guiding
him,
him.
yeah,
You know
yeah.
what I mean? Like
Because you know the music.
I
He
love
just
music.
needs to, he just needs to make sure
it's
it's
also like an incredibly heavy
Heavy,
rig.
yeah.
You know, like this is a man in peak physical condition in his 20s, and like he was dripping. He was having to change clothes, that day, and but we had to work with the art department because, and visual effects. Everybody's there.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
everyone.
And then Akaman.
All hands on deck.
Akaman, who we just saw at the Usher show out here at the O2, because he runs all the Usher's stuff. He was our choreographer. We worked with him Wakanda Forever.
Yeah.
And the first Black Panther.
Yeah.
So I've been working with these people for a long time, and it's a lot of emotion. Like I met Akaman through Chadwick.
Wow.
Because Chadwick brought him because he wanted T'Challa's movements to be specific.
Yeah.
And also like
Yeah.
there's so many musicians in the scene too,
Oh, yeah.
and we wanted real musicians. We
Yeah.
wanted the real deal, and
With Maguette,
with Maguette,
yeah.
and Charlie on guitar, and
Yeah.
so just getting all those flown into
And then
set
Ruth.
too, and yeah,
Some of the equipment was, yeah.
Wow.
It was like a family. It was a family affair.
Yeah, it sounds like it.
Yeah, and like actors were, like Lee Jong Lee was was like, hey, I got a buddy who can be a Monkey King for you, like and then boom.
Yeah.
And
Bring him in.
Yeah, and he's like telling us like about his costume, so. We on the day, like he's like, I can wear the crown, but the crown's too heavy for this move. I gotta do flip to the other,
Wow.
to the clock. Like it was, a lot of artists at the height of their craft, man, and working with, like the turntable, what kind of table that was gonna be on, like and lifting it because we had the Hollywood that in and out. We had the Hollywood a couple of the rigs.
so many details,
Yeah.
and then also obviously using the technology in post. Like because we had the shot, we couldn't change the shot. We had we had the shot, but then how do we create that complete immersive experience?
Yeah.
That's
at the
Shawty.
mix too.
Yeah.
And the edit, and then also with the sound mix, work with the sound team at the mix stage, and like making that whole thing swirl around like you're in there experiencing this.
Yeah. That was fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Job well done, team. Amazing.
Yeah.
Listen, we've run out of time, and I didn't even get to ask you about the vampire section and all their stuff. That's a whole other story.
All the Irish music.
Yeah, that's a whole other story. But
Yeah.
we've run out of time, so I'll get it for part 2.
Okay.
Yeah, for sure.
So good to see you.
You too.